How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now, on today's show, we're going to be talking about why Cesc Fabregas left Arsenal. We're going to be talking about N'Golo and how he may well be staying at Manchester United. We're also going to be talking about Raheem Sterling and the love he still has for Liverpool. And the last thing we're going to be talking about is Gareth Bale and where he could possibly end up next.
I represent my fucking self.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right. So, of course, the first place we are going to start is with Cesc Fabregas. And we've seen a lot of snippets all over the internet the last few days because he's done a recent interview talking about a wide range of things, but one part in particular, why he left Arsenal. And I'll tell you something, it kind of just reiterates the point that a lot of fans had around this period of time. When Robin van Persie left and he made his comments about the club and that they didn't share the same ambition as him, this kind of just adds to that. And it kind of shows that we were right all along and that the club were not going in the right direction. They were not serious about challenging for the top honours. And if they did, we probably wouldn't have lost most of these players. Fabregas himself has said that he would not have left if it wasn't for certain reasons. Van Persie, like I said a minute ago, he's another player. We get into what Fabregas was actually saying, and Cesc Fabregas says he left Arsenal for Barcelona in 2011 for a number of reasons, including his relationship with some former teammates, pressure on winning trophies, and the club's lack of recruitment. Fabregas joined Arsenal from Barcelona as a 15-year-old in 2003 and went on to make 303 appearances across all competitions before returning to the Nou Camp, where he then joined Chelsea and now plays for Monaco and Liga 1. In a wide-ranging interview, the 32-year-old spoke openly about his decision to leave the Gunners 9 years ago, citing a number of different reasons, admitting that he felt Robin van Persie and Samir Nasri were the only players on his level and that he had many sleepless nights. He goes on to say, "I was the captain. I always felt so much pressure on myself. I had to lead this team to win something. I gave everything. Sometimes I used to go home after we lost and I used to cry. I used to suffer. I used to spend sleepless nights suffering. And then you lose a game. You're on the bus like this, destroyed. And then you hear some of the players laughing, thinking about where they will end up going out later that night." That winds me up, seeing stuff like that. This was going on for a few years. We were playing beautiful football and I enjoyed that side of things, but I was putting pressure on myself to lead, to do everything. And at one point I felt kind of lonely, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. I felt Robin and Samir were the only players, and it's not an arrogant thing to say, it's how I felt at the time, were the players who were at my level mentally and technically. Many things came in my head. I have to admit I was a bit empty. I was drained mentally, physically, in my soul, knowing I'm giving everything, knowing a few signings the club could have made but didn't happen. Seeing some behaviours from certain players or something like this made me feel I wanted to check something else. If it was not because of that, I would not have left Arsenal at that time. And there you go, from the man himself, and it's pretty damning when you think about it. And some of the things that we used to say about, you know, the way that Arsene Wenger used to run things at the club, and that players were given a free rein and they were never really put in check if they stepped out of line. And you look at what he's saying there, that they're on the bus, you know, on the way home after a defeat, and there's players like him that are dejected, that are, you know, proper hurting about it. And then you've got some players that are just laughing and joking and just thinking about, right, where are we going tonight, boys? Without a care in the world, you know. And it feels like part of him was feeling what the fans feel, because when we're losing games, we're on our way home and we're feeling the same. We're feeling dejected. We're feeling, you know, like everything's just fallen apart. That's what results do to you when they go, you know, the opposite way. But there's some players there with just the wrong mentality. And you look at what he's saying, and yeah, it's so damning to that period. And it kind of backs up the point that Robin van Persie was making as well, and why he left. And if Arsenal would have gone out of their way and actually bought some players, you know, some of the players that we were crying out for. And he's even saying there, not, you know, huge mass amounts of signings, couple of players. You know, in this interview as well, he was speaking about Xavi Alonso, and he was saying Xavi Alonso wanted to come to Arsenal. He was desperate to come. Fabregas done everything. But no, we didn't get him because it would have stopped Denilson's growth, wouldn't it? Absolute joke. So a very, very good interview. And yeah, no doubt I will see some more snippets over the next few days. And I'll relay as much as I can. But yeah, really good to see that. And nice to see, you know, what goes on behind closed doors if we don't know already. I think most of us do, that's for sure. But yeah, that's a quite open and honest interview from Cesc Fabregas. Next piece of news involves Ighalo. And of course, he's on loan at Manchester United. And that loan ends on May the 31st. And it's likely to be extended to at least June the 30th because of the shutdown of the coronavirus pandemic. Ighalo's parent club, which is Chinese Super League side Shanghai Shenhua, expect the player to return after his loan stay at Old Trafford finishes. The 30-year-old joined up with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's squad for the remainder of the 2019-20 campaign in January, having made the transfer on deadline day. United have the option to buy the Nigeria international on a permanent deal once his loan expires. Ighalo, who scored 40 goals and made 11 assists in 100 appearances for Watford from 2014 to 17, has netted 4 times in 8 matches in all competition since returning to English football. So a bit of an interesting story, you know, and whether he will stay. I think he's done really well since he's come to England, don't get me wrong. He scored a couple of crucial goals in there. But is that what Manchester United really want, to push themselves forward? I don't think the fans are, you know, going to accept that if that was their striking option with the likes of Rashford and whatnot. I think that they really would like to see a big name striker signing. And please, before any of you even start, you're not getting Aubameyang. End of story. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he'll be a good squad player. I think he's someone that can do the business when, you know, called upon. But for the long-term future of Manchester United, nah, not for me. Next piece of news involves Raheem Sterling, and he was doing a live Q&A on his Instagram. And he was asked the direct question as to whether he would actually go back to Liverpool. And he said, would I ever go back to Liverpool? To be honest with you, I love Liverpool. Don't get it twisted. They are always in my heart. Do you know what I mean? It is a team that has done a lot for me growing up. So yeah, it's a pretty, you know, straightforward answer. I think that, you know, it's not meaning that he's going to go back to Liverpool. He'd love to go there and he's trying to, you know, engineer a move or anything. He was asked a question and he just gave an honest answer. And he was at Liverpool a long time, from when he was a boy. So he's going to have that love and affection, even though the Liverpool faithful don't really like him and don't really like the way that he moved. I feel that eventually maybe they can, you know, build that bridge to get over it, because Liverpool, they've gone on to do their own things. Sterling's doing what he's doing at Manchester City. So it's worked out for the both of them, you know, and yeah, they can look on some of the memories with fondness, I think, anyway. Last piece of news involves Gareth Bale. Now, of course, Gareth Bale, Real Madrid, unbelievable time he's had there, but it's been very well documented about his recent time there, and that he seems to be enjoying the golf courses more than he is the football pitches. But yeah, the football fixtures have been removed from the calendar across the world, and it leaves the whole world of sport on hold. But it is increasingly uncertain whether Gareth Bale will be a Real Madrid player when it resumes. The Welshman has endured a torrid 12 months in the Spanish capital last scoring a goal in the Bernabeu over a year ago in a 2-0 win over Celta Vigo on March the 16th, 2019. Perhaps more remarkable is that he has only made 5 home starts in that time. Zinedine Zidane has preferred to use him away from home, with 8 of his 11 starts coming on the road. Bale has 2 more years remaining on his astronomical 15.4 million salary, but Real are once more keen to use his sale to fund their summer transfer strategy, according to reports this week. Nearly 12 months ago, Real had hoped to demand a fee in the region of £70 million for the 30-year-old, but now there's claims that they would allow him to leave on a free transfer. That's a bit of an interesting one if he goes on a free transfer. Now, since moving to the Bernabeu in 2013, the former Tottenham forward has won 1 La Liga title, a Copa del Rey, 4 Champions League titles and a Spanish Supercopa. But would he ever be keen on joining Tottenham and Jose Mourinho? During his spell at White Hart Lane, Bale scored 42 goals in 146 appearances, but emotional return appears as unlikely as ever. His agent, Jonathan Barnett, ruled out a return during the January transfer window, telling reporters that "I don't think so, no." He is in a very fortunate position. When his contract is up, hopefully he will sit down with me and his family and decide what he wants to do. Gareth is very happy over there. And let's be realistic, for most clubs, he is out of their league financially. It is all well and good to say, go and give up that money and go and play somewhere else. But it is not all about money. It's all about his lifestyle and his children who have grown up in Madrid. So yeah, it's a bit of hearsay more than anything. And I think Gareth Bale's name's going to always get mentioned as we go into windows and stuff like that, because it's very evident that he's out of favour. Zidane wants rid of him. Real Madrid want him off the wage bill. And he's just digging his heels in and enjoying life. The fans don't like him. They don't get on. And yeah, you look at it and you think the best thing would be for Gareth Bale to move. But when he's on that kind of wage, why does he need to move? He's got 2 years left on his contract. He can sit there and chill or play golf, as he keeps telling everybody. Could move to Serie A, could move back to the Premier League, could move to China. Who knows? Very, very interesting. But if he is a free transfer, then that might make a few more clubs dip into their pocket, because they won't mind paying the wage if they're not paying a transfer fee. So interesting. So there we go. That is it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think of today's stories. And if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.